Welcome to the continued podcast adventures of Superhero Speak.
But I think many of the people that love this character and that love superheroes in general have used these stories as inspiration to say, you know what? I'm going to do something good in the world. I'm going to make a difference like my hero when I was a kid.
That is my fondest memory of it, because when you're doing comic books, you want them to affect people.
Right.
You want people to care. You want to strike emotions. And I knew that Clone Saga was striking a lot of emotions.
Can you imagine Pulp Fiction starring Goofy and Mickey Mouse?
I can totally imagine that.
I'm sure somebody's written that one too.
Quarter pounder with cheese in France, Mickey? What? Boy, ale with cheese, Mickey. Yeah, I can totally.
See?
I would watch the hell out of that movie.
Yes, I gladly sacrifice that my progeny to you, almighty Marvel beast.
But Neil Adams is somewhere going, it's my time.
How do you measure success? Hey everyone, and welcome to Superhero Speak. I'm your host Dave.
And John.
Oh, hi, I'm JD. I'm back.
Yay! The gang's all together again. I don't have two weirdos with. I don't have substitute hosts this week.
The show was fine.
Did you get abandoned last week?
Yes, by both of you.
Yes. We lost power here twice. Like we had on last Sunday we had a storm come through, and we live in hillbilly town, so unincorporated. So we lose power. It happens. It happens frequently. Friday, we had tornadoes. You guys see that big line of storms that just stretched all the way from? It went from Arkansas. Yeah, it went from Arkansas all the way up to like North Dakota.
Yeah,
and it went through here like an hour after we finished installing our floors, and we had a tornado. It didn't touch down, but we had a funnel cloud. So we were kissing booty in the basement, trying to pray to God, do the things you do during a tornado. And about 20 miles north of me, a concert venue was destroyed by a tornado.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty sad when a person died. So I'm back. I got power. I got to do something with the sound in my room now because we have vinyl plank floors. We got rid of all the carpeting, so I need to do some. Now that I'm listening to myself, I need to put some throw rugs. And I have padding on my wall, but I think I need a little bit more. I need to have something up over here. So we're a work in progress.
I saw your pictures you posted on your floor work. So
yeah, they look good. Good. My brother and my best friend did most of the work. I'm the big lug who just carries things. That's where I'm at my best.
Well, at least you admit it, right?
Oh, I know it. I do what I'm told.
Good soldier. All right, so I guess that's how you're doing, JD. Anything new to report, or just
that's how I'm doing? With spring break, we had spring break this week, and I installed floors all week.
Yeah,
took my kid to see a movie.
Most schools in Philly are on spring break this week coming up.
I heard
somebody is watching us live.
Share the notification.
Are you making sure that we're live on YouTube? Is that what you're doing there, John?
I usually have it all set up already, but technical difficulties and all, and you get to practice after being away for a week in Disney World.
So I was about to say, how was your trip? How was your vacation, John?
Being with my sister and her two youngest was priceless. But Disney put a price on it anyway, and it was about $4,000.
Yeah. They do that.
Disney's horrible. Like things have. Okay, so like old man, right? So last time I was there, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea was there. Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, a few other things that just don't exist anymore.
Right.
The place has changed noticeably to just wring money out of you. They gamified the whole system. It used to be you go, you buy your tickets. If you got a little bit of money on the side and you want to go faster, you get the fast pass. You're done. The rest of the day, you're just going to the fast pass lines on the rides, and you get to go a little faster than the normal, lines that are there. Now it's like you'll get a notification saying you have 20 minutes where you know, to buy like a special lightning deal where you can get on a ride much quicker if you want. It's like that whole thing to put pressure on you and pressure on you to pay an extra $100 to get on a ride fast. It's stupid as hell.
Well, that was
no wonder Bob Iger like was hired again.
Yeah, like that was one of the things. Like a lot of people were complaining about how the last guy was running the parks. So I don't remember his name, but yeah, so that's why they got rid of him. But yet they haven't reversed any of those things yet, have they?
No, they haven't, and it's horrible because like if you get I said lightning round or lightning whatever before, but there's an actual lightning line or something that you can get into. You can buy it the night before, but you have an hour between which you can go into one of the rides, and get on the quicker line. But then like some of the rides will like stop for a little bit. Like the was it the spring dog, the slinky dog one stopped for a while and we couldn't get in. And then it says, well, you've got another hour once it starts to go in. But then you're trying to juggle that with all the other things that that you scheduled, plus like the lightning, the notifications keep getting for like you've got 10 minutes to get into this lane if you want for to take only 15 minutes on this line instead of 70 minutes. I just it just made it almost not fun. And then there's one thing I think that I would notice that I don't think anybody going to the park today would notice. In the Haunted Mansion, when you go into the Haunted Mansion, there's 2 rooms in the beginning. The first room they used to take you into, give you a spiel about ghosts following you home, blah, blah, blah. And
the stretching room.
No. The first room isn't the stretching room. The first room is the welcome room. And then they take you into the stretch room. And then once the stretch room is done, then you go into the ride. The reason for that initially was so that you could get your night vision. So that the rest of the ride was, you could see everything because they keep the rest of the Haunted Mansion really dark. They just walked us right through the first room into the stretch room, and that went off way quicker than I ever remembered. And then you're into the ride proper, and you can barely see anything.
When was the last time you were there?
30 years ago, 1991.
1864.
I was going to say,
before it was conceived, I was on that land.
That's right. 407 years ago, John went to Florida.
Actually, 407 years is the length it takes to get into one of the rides now.
Because we went there, I think, 9 years ago on a family vacation, and it was like that then. Like they just walked you straight into the stretch room.
But also, I mean, I can see some of the pressure that they're getting to do because they're dealing with a lot more people. But again, like it's all just rich organizations, rich families now because it is so much more expensive.
Do you know why the stretch room was originally conceived? The stretch? Because in California, where the ride originated in Disneyland, all of the actual ride itself is outside of the park. So you're lowering, it's an elevator. You're lowering into the ride. So, and you don't realize that. And then when you step off, you're actually on another level and you're going into the ride. In Florida, it's all in the park. So the room actually stretches up. So,
that's interesting.
One other thing, I know I'm taking a lot of time here. I went on the Guardians of the Galaxy ride there.
How was that?
I had a mild concussion for the next 2 days.
Really? You could sue. You could make a lot of money.
It felt like that. I felt sick for the next 2 days. Nothing you could prove, but I felt sick for the next 2 days. Right after, like, a couple hours after that, I thought I was feeling better. They took me on the mission. My nephews are like, let's go to the mission to Mars, and you got to take the orange side. Okay, whatever that is. You go to the orange side. I almost threw up on that, and I could not walk straight after that because the Guardians of the Galaxy ride. Do you guys know about it? Have you heard?
No, not a thing.
Hey, Cliff.
Hey, Ulysses.
Ulysses.
Ulysses. Yeah, I like.
For those of you listening, we just got the notification that Ulysses joined.
If it wasn't obvious enough, yeah.
The Guardians of the Galaxy is probably the fastest, most I don't know, vomit-inducing roller coaster I have ever heard of.
Okay.
You are not only going probably like 60 or 70 miles an hour at certain points, probably not that, but that's what it feels like. But you're also spinning. It's not just doing loop-de-loops. You're also spinning. Your chair is also spinning as well.
Right.
And I just, if they slowed it down about 30-40%, you may, because you're going through like an entire adventure with the Guardians, but you're so busy trying not to be ripped out of your safety cage and trying to hold on to your stomach contents, you're not listening to the whole thing and the visuals that are going by you. You're just hanging on for dear life. Maybe I'm old. I mean, okay.
Well, yeah, you are.
But the thing is, like, I don't see how even young people can stand being on that for more than, once or twice before literally getting a concussion. I mean, that thing was bad. I could not ride anything like that for the next 2 days. At night, I didn't even go back to the parks. I would just go home for dinner.
You should get a doctor to tell us that you had a concussion, and you should file sue get a settlement. That's like this is what you do.
If you have an actual concussion, they can tell.
Americans, yeah.
They can tell afterwards with an MRI. Yeah.
Negligence, man. That's legit.
Yeah, but so this is a warning for anybody thinking to go to Disney World. First, have an extra $4,000 in your bank account because you're not getting out of there for anything less than that. Unless you're like driving 2 hours to the park every day from some seedy motel. Otherwise, well, and you still need money for the food. And the food you're not getting out of there for less than $30 or $40 a plate.
That's the thing people complained about the most was they got rid of the meal plans. Like they used to.
I remember that. Yeah.
When I went on our family vacation, like we got the meal plan, and it was funny because like there's no way we would have been able to survive financially if we didn't get that, and it was more than enough food every day. It included breakfast, not breakfast, included lunch and dinner at selected restaurants, and then like 3 snacks. But the snacks, like if you just got something in the morning, that was your breakfast, and it was fine. So
that's why they didn't do it anymore. They're losing money.
I don't know. I don't think they
weren't making enough money. That's
they were lose. But Dave, you got to look at it like a.
I know how
evil billionaire. You're losing money because we're not taking all of yours. So therefore, it's $1 that goes to someone else and not into the mouse.
Yeah, you're leaving money on the table is what the
mouse doesn't like that shit, motherfucker.
Yeah, the South Park episode. Yeah,
it's classic.
It sounds like I know I'm normally like a negative voice on here about certain things, and I try not to be that guy anymore. But this didn't leave me with a good feeling in my gut. It's like and mauves in my wallet. It's like just the rides that were there are still fun. Most of them, except that they keep trying to make more and more roller coastery rides. Not the more interesting rides, just rides that for people that are adrenaline junkies. But between that and the money, the constant drain and the lines and all the gamification and the app that they have is horrible. I just was not. I don't know if I'd ever go back there. It just was not enough fun in the end.
Yeah.
If I had a kid, I'd take them there once, and that's it.
It's on my list of things to do. I think I should take my son to see Mickey Mouse before he no longer thinks that would be cool. Right? Yeah. It's on my list. I was going to say my wife and I went to Universal Studios not too long ago, but then I did the math in my head, and that was actually in 2008. So it was actually 15 years ago, and that was a good time. Now I have to go in a corner and die.
Okay. So hold on. First class, he said Disney World. 1, it's expensive, and 2, it's expensive. I live in Texas. I guess that rhymes. But then he went on to say, I haven't been to Disney World since 2003 when I was 7.
Oh my God, I'm old. Oh my God.
You were 7 in 2003. I have to go kill myself.
I'm so old. Anyway, like, yeah, so that was it. I mean, overall, I had a fun time because my nephews were there.
Right.
But if now that I've gone, I don't feel the need to ever go there again. And I told my sister, next year we're going to Universal. Why? Because I work for the 800-pound gorilla in the room, and I get very good discounts there.
Yeah, exactly. I don't blame you on that one.
I had a great time at Universal a decade and a half ago. I imagine it would still be fun.
I haven't heard any of the same complaints I hear these days about Disney, you know? And I'm not saying that because I work for the company. I'm just saying that's my experience. Now, when I go, I might say something different, but, you know, they can't control what I say about it.
Classy says it's okay to be old.
Thanks. Thank
you.
As long as you have, you know, a little drinky drink. So yeah.
All right. How are you, Dave?
How you doing?
I'm all right. First off, I'm thankful that you guys are back. You know, back to normal. No, I mean, last week was
got
great.
you out of your comfort zone last week a little bit.
It wasn't so much, obviously, Joey. He's been on the show a few times. I've known Joey for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't. It was having Scott on, who I have never talked to.
Scott is a good podcaster. He's really good.
He's a very good podcaster.
He's very good at keeping a conversation going. He's got a very easy demeanor. I got him hooked up to doing stuff with the Fight Game Network, so he's done a really good job.
Yeah, he said that. He said that too. Yeah, he's thankful for that. So.
He's a good dude. I like Scott a lot.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, it hasn't been a very eventful week for me per se. Other than I have a slight cold, which is annoying.
I'm surprised I didn't walk out of that whole vacation without.
Yeah.
You know.
In Florida, you're lucky you don't have leprosy.
I know, right? It's true.
So this is an interesting one. So obviously everyone who watches and listens to the podcast knows that my granddaughter had cancer. She's cancer-free right now. But because of that, then she's getting invited to different charities. They got invited to the White House Easter egg roll.
Really?
Wow.
Yes. It's the Monday after Easter, which I thought was weird. Like, you would think they'd have it the Friday or Saturday before Easter, but no, it's the Monday after Easter this year. So, yeah, they'll be going down.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Are they going to fly or are they going to drive down?
They're going to drive. It's only a 3-hour drive from Philly.
I didn't realize Philly. I didn't realize it was that close. The East Coast, everything is so like tight together. You get out to the Midwest, it's like Milwaukee to Detroit. It's like, that's like 12 hours. You know?
Yeah. So yeah, that's exciting. The other thing is, she doesn't watch the show, so she doesn't know I'm letting the cat out of the bag. She's a Make-A-Wish kid now too, my granddaughter, and obviously the wish is where John just was. They're going to be going to Disney World in October. So
good for them. I'm happy to.
Did she wish for a winning lottery ticket too to go with that?
Yeah.
She's a Make-A-Wish kid. She's not a change probabilities kid. She doesn't have a mutant power.
So yeah.
You can but ask.
Other than that, I did get caught up on Mandalorian.
I'm not. I'm waiting. I'm gonna do 3 and 3. I'm gonna do 3. Why no time? I didn't have cable all week. We were putting floors in.
Darn it.
I didn't.
How about you, John?
Oh, I'm caught up. You're gonna like the last episode, JD. That's all
I was so turned off by the. I was so turned off by the third episode that it's been hard for me to jump back in.
You need that. Yeah, their world building. That's going to come into play.
I don't like world. I mean, like I don't like when it T-bones a narrative. It bothers me.
And the last episode is definitely setting up for where this whole season's going. And what I'll say is he hasn't chimed in. So I assume Don's not watching. But I think Don was right.
What?
So,
what did he say?
Something about the X-Men.
No. Oh. Mandalore will have a new leader on Mandalore.
Don did say that.
Yes. Though I think it's not the person he thinks it's going to be. So.
I still have my drink from the movies. Look at the size of this thing. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And that's from last Thursday?
No, it's from a couple hours ago.
So,
Don is here.
Don is here.
Oh no.
Oh, Joey agrees with me about the third episode of
The third
Mandalorian.
episode was worse than watching Rise of Skywalker 100 times in a row. Oh,
That
my
is
God.
not true.
It was
That
so
is not true.
boring. It was so boring.
Yes. Rise of Skywalker was still worse than that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably was.
That Rise of Skywalker made me want to retch. It wasn't just boring. It was.
Are you one of the girls from Clueless? It made you want to retch?
But
I'm old.
Randy
you pick
says,
up colloquialisms from like 6 decades.
From the
You're just
30
gonna.
years ago.
Episode 4 is badass. So yeah.
I'm looking for. I will see that. I like the 3 and 3 that I did a couple weeks ago. So I think I'm gonna do it again. Just do a set of 6 or a set of 3, a set of 3, a set of 3. Classy says I haven't seen Mando since season 1. I just prefer Star Wars to be more realistic, greedy war film. That's not Star Wars though. That's what I'm looking for, and it was close to in Clone Wars, less violent. I don't know, man. Like I got to be honest with you, Classy. If you're looking for realism in your science fiction, the thing about the space wizards probably not for you.
Yeah.
Star Trek's probably more.
And there aren't even there's really just one space wizard in Mandalorian, little green one. So it's just like
true.
Yeah,
true. That's actually a really good point.
Yeah, which I think was one of the things that makes the show work too. So, all right, well, then I guess that means, guys, we got to move on to social media madness.
Do we have to?
Oh no.
Well, it is part of the show. We're not going to get rid of it.
Excuses.
Yeah, that's what I hear. Been hearing that for 5 years. Continue.
All right. So first, couple comments on the video from last week. Some guy named Dave said thanks to Joey and Scott for filling in.
That guy gets on my nerves.
A Mega level nerd said, I agree, GameStop sucks and is not the gaming industry. I was a manager as well back in the day. Oh, yeah, you missed that whole conversation about GameStop.
Oh, my God, because I worked for Funko way before, before that.
And then
GameStop.
A Top 111 said, I have no idea. I think it's in another language. So, XD enunciate cool. So, all right.
Are you not able to read the young one's language now?
No. I gave up on trying to do that a long time ago.
In a galaxy far, far away.
Let's see. We've got
Drew.
Drew says, yay.
Just a general yay?
Yeah. Oh, wait. Hold on. I missed some comments when I was reading all that stuff. What did Don say?
Don says they're leaning into the prequel series, but you're starting to see how the First Order was such a juggernaut. You know, that's a good point. My brother brought that up too when we were talking about that. He's saying we're setting up for the First Order. And I was kind of like, I don't care about the First Order, but if they can make me care, I guess that's okay.
Well, it's interesting to see. It's interesting to see why the New Republic was just so bad.
Shitty.
It
was disappointing that it collapsed in less than a generation. I'll be honest with you.
Randy says everyone needs to catch up on Rebels after Episode 4. Interesting.
Most new governments do, by the way.
That's true.
It takes a lot for a government to.
Remember when Russia tried that whole democracy thing? Didn't take.
Nope, couldn't put that back in the bag.
Oh, Gillespie's responding to you. True, I guess that's my taste, but Disney should hire me.
All Star Wars fans will hate me because it's too political. Well, to be fair, all Star Wars fans hate everyone who does anything with their favorite thing. So
New Republic sucks. Ah,
the band. Too late to apologize.
No. He's talking about the New Republic.
Oh yes.
So last week, guys, we talked about the first reveal we got of the Harley Quinn, Lady Gaga costume look for the movie.
Look like Harley Quinn to me.
All right. Well, the crossover podcast said, all right, I like it. It's a Bernie meme. Random Randy Savage of the Cult 45 podcast said they could recreate this scene X-rated and I would still not want to see the movie. And it's Harley Quinn popping out of pastry dough, it looks like. So,
it's a lot.
Some strong feelings there from Randy about this movie.
What's the thing about Randy? Is he like, you never quite know what he thinks about these things. Like he's always like really low key with his opinions and never goes over the top.
Yeah, I know.
Drew says, I feel like there was way too much politics in the prequels, not enough in the sequel trilogy. That's something I don't think it's talked about enough, is like those were big giant swings in both directions when there probably should have been more middle ground in both of those. I actually agree with him a lot on that one.
Kassan said, I am for it. I think too many people put emphasis, on the aesthetic of a character rather than the character's arc and the execution of their story.
Yes.
Looks fine. Looks are fine. Give me the compelling story and everything else is a non-issue.
Yes. I agree.
I can't disagree with that. We've had so many costumes that were not comic accurate. But I don't know.
We had the Matrix X-Men. The Matrix Men.
Yeah.
Joker 2. Yeah, that's true. Joker 2 is going to save cinema 2024. That is a bold statement.
As a musical, I don't think so.
Bold. Michael Scott, Dave. He's from the Office. He's asking for Bueller.
Hi, Mike. Welcome to the show. Joker is going to bomb, and they will blame Lady Gaga. That is true, Randy.
They will, if it does bomb, they will blame Lady Gaga, but I don't think it's gonna. People really like that movie, except us three.
You know what's funny? I love the political stuff and the prequels trilogy, and I have a kid and still.
When I was a kid. No, you didn't. You didn't love the discussion of trade routes when you were 7.
Yeah, come on.
You didn't understand the discussion of trade routes.
Horse hockey.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, guess what? For you guys, I kept Social Media Madness short this week. That's it.
Thanks, man.
That's all we had.
Because we have a few things that we can talk about now that are really interesting.
The Matrix Men.
But what I'm going to say is, if you would like to follow us on social media and be part of Social Media Madness and check out some other great podcasts, here's our good friend Don to tell you more.
Enjoying the show? Do you want to be part of Social Media Madness? Well, go ahead and head on over to superheroespeak.com. You'll find all the links you need, episodes of the show, comic reviews by Chris, and other articles. We're posting stuff on there all the time. And while you're there, you can also check out the rest of the Geek World All-Stars podcast network. Include great shows like the Pop Prison Power podcast, Colt 45, baby, So Wizard podcast, Fans on Patrol, the Gorilla Brain podcast, and of course, Superhero Speak. Hashtag GW All-Stars, and you're not going to be disappointed. So, make sure that you are commenting on our Twitter articles. Could be a poignant comment, could be a stupid one. Either way, gives you a chance for Dave to possibly mispronounce your Twitter handle. All right, well, I've rambled on enough. Let's head back to Dave and the gents on Superhero Speak.
Oh my God, that was freaking great. I was going to say, hey, Don finally broke and recorded a new one, and then he went and buried Dave's mispronunciations with the final remark. Bravo, sir. That was...
I forgot to mention at the top of the show, if you're watching this after live, or if you're watching this live and you are not yet subscribed, do us a favor, hit that subscribe button right now down below on YouTube, and hit the like button. Leave a comment. It all helps with the algorithm. So yeah,
we must feed the algorithm, or it shall devour us.
Yes, and don't forget to check out the Omega Level Nerds podcast, available on YouTube and wherever podcasts are available. Or mispronounce your entire Twitter comment. Oh my God.
I have the vapors.
Oh.
You know what? You guys are cruel.
Check our chat, by the way.
On that note, we are going to take a quick commercial break. and we'll be right back with some news. There it is.
Some podcasts are like this.
The bodies of 3 hikers were all empty, and their organs were laid out like a Sunday dinner.
And some podcasts are like this.
You know what? I'm going to tell you why having a large penis ain't always a good thing.
But only one podcast is where you can get in-depth analysis like this.
Like, nah, this is what you saw. They were drunk as shit because everybody been drinking. He told a good-ass joke that made her pussy explode. I mean, no, that made her fall into his chest.
Yeah, that's why everything was all shaking and they just laughing and wrecking.
Because of the vigorous laughter.
That moan you heard, that was just like an airless laugh.
When he said he was about to come, he meant like with another joke.
Yeah, he's about to come up with another joke.
So
he's about to bust his gut.
I'm about to bust a gut.
You are now listening to Cult 45.
This is Beat 'em Down.
And I'm Random Randy Savage.
Find us on all your podcatching apps like Podbean or Spotify. And follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Or just go to www.cult45podcast.com.
Also, check out our YouTube for that sweet, sweet video content.
Cult 45, the only podcast that puts hair on your chest.
That ruled. Well done. I really like that commercial.
So Randy says he's going to get us a new commercial soon. But you know what, Randy? No, that's good because you're just going to make fun of me in another commercial.
That's okay, too.
Hey! I will say again, if you have a podcast and you would like us to, and you have a video ad for it, and you would like us to feature on the show, please send it over to me at dave@superheroespeak.com, and I will make sure to include it in our next episode. So, all right. Did you guys see the breaking news before we get into the stuff I sent in the email? There was a teaser sent for the Blue Beetle movie.
I did see that.
Yep.
Yes.
And the Secret Invasion, trailer dropped tonight. I don't know if it just dropped or it's dropping as we speak, but there are a bunch of watch parties for it when we started.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what that's going to do.
Drew had a
All
funny
right.
comment.
Blue
Drew
Beetle
had
looks good too.
It does. Blue Beetle looks good. Drew had a good comment. Boy, I'm glad I put this on headphones before the commercial. I'm in the living room with my father-in-law, wife, daughter, and son. Yes, that's one must be careful where they listen to our friend
We have never claimed to be family entertainment. I'm just saying, putting that out there right now.
Or even entertaining, to be quite frank.
If you cut out all the parts where I'm not speaking, you're probably safe.
Oh my goodness. All right, so hold on. First, Blue Beetle. I mean, it looks good, but like, we're also in that trend of like the teaser to the teaser.
I'm tired of it.
Yeah, like,
Just
and Warner
show
Brothers
me.
is the worst one for this.
Warner sucks at a lot of things. I mean, I have goodwill to this because I really like the Jaime Reyes character. I think that's one of the few reinventions of a character that I think has really worked and actually benefited. I know there's a lot of people that truly love like the blue and gold Blue Beetle stuff, the Ted Cord, and he's a fun character. But I don't know, man. John is in fact the most tame. Drew is correct.
Yeah.
I'm okay. The guy, Randy just said the Guyver is coming back, and I never thought about that before, but it's very Guyver-esque. It is very Guyver-esque. If you've never seen the Guyver,
Mark Hamill's not going to be in this one.
I was going to say, if you've never seen the Guyver, it's a fun little sci-fi film with Mark Hamill from the early '90s.
Yeah,
the second one, the creature effects were much better than the first one.
I never saw the second Guyver movie.
The second one was actually better.
No kidding. Really?
Yeah. The creature effects were way better than the first one.
I was going to say
the costumes were better too.
I was going to say the effects looked good, but I mean, it was what, a couple seconds.
Yeah, really hard to judge based on. I mean, I'm basically giving this thing some credit on the goodwill I have for the Blue Beetle property.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because it's something I completely forgot about until this hit today. So,
me too. So where does that's weird. I forgot about this too because we have this new DC. What are we calling this? DCU, whatever it's calling. I forget what the acronym is for it.
Yeah,
but better like season 2 Power Rangers. Yes. I don't know where this lies. I don't know where any of this lies in continuity. So who cares? Continuity. They don't care about the continuity. You shouldn't care about the continuity.
Yeah, I think continuity is out the window at this point completely.
Does that hurt it or help it though?
Probably helps it a little bit, to be honest with you.
Helps it from its current situation or helps it overall? Like, Guys like me live on continuity, right?
Who cares? I mean, like, honestly, you are not the audience for this film.
Yeah.
The audience for this film is going to be 12-year-olds that are going to be introducing this Beetle property, right? They're not selling
the Shazam effect, right? They can put themselves in the body of a.
Well, I just meant because we want to, like, think about it. Like, Iron Man had not a ton of accrued interest based on, decades. Like, there are Iron Man fans out there, but there are way more Iron Man fans now than there were before 2008, right? Yeah. And they're won over by Iron Man. So I think those are the people you want to get. You want to get people who don't know Blue Beetle, kids mostly, to fall in love with it.
I agree. I mean, Iron Man was never a top tier character, only in the Avengers stories. But
now he's that's it.
None of the Avengers were and I liked the Avengers books. I love Captain America, but I mean, they weren't B level characters. Like, they were A level Marvel characters, but they weren't Spider-Man or the X-Men.
Right, they've always been the big ones.
Yeah, and Marvel made the most of what they had, right? And I don't think we give enough credit to the risk that Marvel Studios took, right? When they just bankrolled the company, right? They basically mortgaged the future of the company on these movies, on that one in particular, on Marvel in particular.
Perlmutter did that, right? For the most
part. We can talk about that guy later.
We're going to talk about it. But
we'll talk about old Beak Nose.
But this is the one thing you can give him credit for, is that he's the one who made that possible.
By not stopping it.
Yes.
Well,
by not getting in the way. And but by knowing the man knew how to make money. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
He also knew how not to spend it. Cheap son of a bitch.
Right.
That said, I think that this Blue Beetle thing could be a lot of fun. I want to see a bigger trailer, but
that's tomorrow.
So we'll see. On first glance, looks fine.
By the way, by tomorrow, saying tomorrow, that means Monday. We're recording this on Sunday, April 2nd.
We're live, man. We're live.
There are currently people watching.
I know, but people are watching. I just want to make sure when people watch us on Wednesday or Thursday.
DC hasn't cared about continuity at all. How does Suicide Squad 2 live up with and Peacemaker?
None of these are in the sacred timeline.
That wasn't Dave's butchering of a comment. That was actually how it was written. So I got you on that one, Dave. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. DC never cares about continuity, and when they try to care about continuity, they make it worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As any DC fan will tell you, whenever DC tries to get their continuity in line, it doesn't work.
Clancy here says it's going to be DCU after the Flash restarts the universe, but we don't even know if that's true at this point.
Well, we know it's not true because we still have another Batman and a separate Joker in two different universes even after that, right?
True.
Right, and Randy did say we could call it the DCMU, and I'm pretty sure he means the M is for multi, the DC multi-universe.
Multiverse. Yeah.
This is so confusing. They're just...
They're just on DC.
That is an actual concept in the comic books.
It is.
You got a multiverse, and then you have a multiverse of multiverses.
For 52, right? I think we're still. I don't even know if we're still at 52 anymore. There's multiverses in DC.
No, it's not 52. It's they consider that the DC and the Marvel universes, or DC multiverse and MCU multiverse, are two multiverses within a much larger set of multiverses. That's how they explain the crossovers between DC and Marvel and that sort of thing. So, but the one above all and whatever God is in the DC universe are just in charge of their multiverses.
Wow. Randy says, no one is going to watch this later. It's for the audio listeners.
Damn, bro.
Maybe Gunn is going to throw the whole continuity in the trash.
And I thought that was possible, but he's keeping his own stuff. John Cena's coming back as Peacemaker, right?
Well, you mean his wife is coming back as what's her face? So I mean,
why are people so on him for putting his wife in the movie? For putting his wife and stuff. I don't understand that.
It's not.
But it's like a thing. It's not just you. But it's not just you. I see this everywhere. She's not a bad actress. It's not like.
No, she's not.
Like she's easy on the eyes, but I mean, like I think people go way over the top about that whole.
And no, she's good at that as that character.
Yeah, she is
hardcore, right? That's
hardcore.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, like she is that character. So
and there's many filmmakers who've done stuff like that.
But he's one of those guys.
Yeah.
Like Ron Howard cast his brother and stuff all the time. James Gunn also casts his brother and stuff all the time. Like I think
Sam Raimi.
A little hard on that. Sam Raimi. Man, Ted Raimi would have no career. Neither would Bruce Campbell because she's hot. She is hot. So I'm just gonna say that. Blame the Snyder cults. That's actually probably true. You're actually
again say when you're reading something off of the
Happy Wife, Happy Life. He's spoken
Joey's
for
got
married
a point.
man.
Yeah.
So
that's accurate.
Podcast says.
Employed wife, happy home. More accurate.
Oh. Anyway, real quick. Speaking of DC, this was a rumor, so I didn't bring it for news. But since we're on this,
since we're live, you can throw us curveballs. Continue.
Apparently, there have been previews of the Aquaman movie. Test audiences, and they're all saying it's terrible.
That's what I'm hearing too.
And first off, the weird thing is, right? Like, where does Aquaman fit into because that comes out after Flash, and if it's rebooting the universe, where does that fit? Does anyone going to care? Yeah, I think that movie's dead on arrival at this point.
Honestly, I think according to the trailer I saw today, it leaves him in the next Fast and the Furious movie.
How could they screw that up so badly? It was one of the only movies.
Was Aquaman a good movie, or was it just like the only fun movie that came out, and so we all gave it a little bit of a pass?
I think it was fun, and like it gave us an over-the-top live-action Black Manta that we were shocked by. Right, like they gave us the tall helmet with the laser beam eyes, and like no one thought they were going to do it, but they did it.
Well, it gave us a good Mira too. I mean, at least on screen. Forget about what she did off screen, but like, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just, how could they have screwed that up though? Like,
Randy says, "Fun explodey movie."
It wasn't, and you need that sometimes.
Fun movie exploding.
I enjoyed Black Adam for that reason. It was a fun explodey movie. It was like a dumb jock movie, basically, right?
Yeah.
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 Well, I mean, main character, you can't get more jock.
Dumb jock.
Yeah.
That's pretty accurate. Yes.
All right. Oh wait. Classy says, "I love the Aquaman movie. It's my top 10 best comic book movies." Wow.
Really?
Pretty high praise there.
That is high praise.
It was fun though. I mean, like
it's fun. It's not bad. I really like that they gave Aquaman and Mira that like Tracy Hepburn dynamic to them, right? I didn't foresee that. And I think it's the best thing Amber Heard's ever been in.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
She's not very good.
No.
Especially on the witness stand.
No comment. That's a whole nother can of worms. Like people give Jennifer Holland shit for being hot, but she's a way better actress than what's her name? Amber Heard. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah. No, you're right. She is. And I wasn't like dissing.
I wasn't using you, but I mean, like, but that is a meme, if you will. Classy says Amber Heard is hot, and I don't deny it. Yeah, I mean, she is. She's fantastic to look at.
Well, that's the definition of an
good looking
actress
does not
these days,
mean that you're a good actress.
No, that's always been the case within film, John. There's
right. I know. Like
the history of cinema is littered with really pretty people who are really bad at their job.
Right. Yes.
And she's part of a tradition.
Then you get
there.
People
You
like
go.
Holland, who is actually good.
She is good. She's a good actress, and like there's tons of good actresses that just don't get a break, and she's in a good spot. Good for her.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of people who aren't in a good spot,
so
Disney has now absorbed Marvel Entertainment. They're no longer a separate entity.
That's interesting.
And dismisses Chairman Ike Perlmutter.
Ding dong, the witch is dead. The wicked witch. Ding
Perlmutter
dong,
is another one of those people that like he's the reason that we got Inhumans. He's the reason. Yes. He's the reason that the TV Marvel universe stayed the TV Marvel universe and didn't cross over because he and Feige. Well, he was the problem, not Feige.
Yeah.
So for those of you guys who aren't aware of this, Ike Perlmutter basically took over Marvel Comics when it was in bankruptcy in the late 90s, came from Toy Biz with AVR and all that. And this was the most penny pinching sumbitch. Like, they were taking the water coolers out of Marvel Comics office. They were sharing paper clips. Like, the late 90s Marvel was so dire when it came to what they were spending, like, and not being allowed. But he set them up. Like, his decisions are what allowed Marvel to branch out. When I say branch out, in the late 90s, Marvel was in the mid to late 90s, Marvel was hiring other studios to work on their stuff. Famously, there was a series called Heroes Reborn, where they were all your Avengers and the Fantastic Four, and anything that wasn't Spider-Man or X-Men were put into pocket universes. And it was run by the Image guys, basically. That was their comeback, and it all sucked.
Yeah,
it was all bad. It did give us Kurt Busiek and George Perez and the Avengers eventually. That's great. But what it also did was it opened the door for Quesada and Palmiotti to come over with their imprint. And they took over Marvel Knights. And that is what put Marvel back on the right track. It was getting Joe Quesada there. Like, what failed with Jim Lee and all those guys worked. And it saved Marvel creatively and economically and put them in and got them going in the position that they're in now.
But they also kept themselves going by this is how we got the fragmentation, right? With selling the rights to the Fantastic Four and everything.
That's something they've always done. That predates Perlmutter. Like, Stan Lee was doing that stuff in the 80s, just trying to get stuff made. And in that era, he was definitely spearheading that. Because again, Perlmutter selling Spider-Man to Sony and the X-Men to 20th Century Fox essentially saved Marvel Comics. It gave them the collateral to stay in existence. Drew says Marvel Knights Spider-Man started amazingly. Yeah, Mark Miller, big idea guy, really hard on the landing guy. Kevin Smith, Daredevil, I think is a really fun run, to be honest with you. I like that.
Yeah, I love
Christopher Priest on Black Panther. Good stuff. Good comics right there.
Yes. Yeah, we talked about that with him when we interviewed him.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? Like, yeah, he did some good stuff. He did some really bad stuff.
Well, he did a lot of bad stuff.
Way more bad.
Way more.
Right. Way more bad. I would say he put them in a position where they wound up that they were okay in. Like, it wasn't like he had any creative genius to do that. He was a butthead, and they managed to work on it.
I read one article that basically posited that if he had gotten his way, we would currently be discussing how the MCU went down in flames after he fired Feige. Because
which he wanted to do that. Yeah, 100%.
I feel like that's the whole thing. This is Disney saying Feige's our guy to lead where Disney's going.
Yeah.
I mean, not Disney, Marvel's going.
Well, he helped,
but
this is kind of a long time coming, and this is what happens when you get these big mergers and these big corporate acquisitions. Eventually these guys become redundant and they get dropped. I mean, I'm more amazed it took as long as it did.
Well, that's because they brought back what's his face, the CEO of Disney,
Iger.
Yeah, Iger. They brought back Iger. Well, Iger gets shit done. I mean,
Iger gets shit. Let's be real. Bob Iger is the man. Like, we might not like him, but he is the man. Hey, the Secret Invasion trailer is dropped. We should watch it live and get kicked off of YouTube.
We can. Yeah. Next time we should really set that up with like OBS.
It just happened, man. I'm just rolling with the punches.
I don't know how you add in a separate feed into.
Well, we don't because, like he said, we would get kicked off.
We get kicked off of YouTube.
YouTube is horrible with that stuff. We could record our reactions.
We can just listen. We can just watch the trailer and react to it as it goes on. You guys like this behind how the sausage is made of the live streaming?
I like sausage.
Having a production meeting on the air.
Yeah, we shouldn't be doing this.
But the scuttlebutt is that Iger walked in, looked around, and decided, no, Perlmutter's out.
It was like the scene. Quick. It was like the scene in Half Baked. Fuck you, you're gone. Fuck you. You I like. Have a nice day.
But with reason now. I mean, obviously with reason. Again, because Perlmutter is basically everything that's completely failed is been from Perlmutter.
No, Randy, that does not happen.
We don't edit the show. Come on, man.
That's what I came here for. Drew came here for sausage.
Sausage is good. It makes the best pizza. Oh my goodness. I'm from Chicago. A good Italian sausage is the best.
Why do I
get that with the marinara right on the bread? It's fantastic.
So, but here's a question, right? What does this mean for the publishing of the books?
Right, because he was in charge.
Well, it's a good question actually, because they basically say Marvel is redundant, and I don't know what that means. I don't think the people at Marvel can be feeling great. Like at first, it's one of those, "Yay! Is the devil we know better than the devil we don't?"
Right, exactly.
I don't know.
Interesting point of view here. Something that just clicked in my head. Disney's getting into anime now. Most of anime, the only reason for it is to get you into the mangas, so that you'll buy all the mangas and see the rest of what you're missing from just a short little anime. Same thing would work with comic books. I don't know why they would get rid of the comic books. It's a lot, It's not exactly a loss leader. It's a leader, but not a loss leader.
It is a loss leader. Publishing this one's Andy Schmidt taught us in comics.
No, the movies. The movies.
The movies. The loss leader is comic. The comics are IP, right?
Right.
They're IP farms, right? You see what works in the comics, and because publishing of like the publishing business in general loses money these days. It just does. Like it's just expensive. Yeah. Comics are a very expensive medium, and this is why things are constantly moving. Why you don't get series that go a long time anymore. Why there's constantly like we pisses guys like us off that have been doing this for a long time, reading it. But like it's hard to make money in comics, like for the way it is. Like the value is in the IP, right? The value is in the TV show. The value is in the movie. Like you just gotta experiment and see what works. Like Spider-Verse. That's a perfect example. Spider-Verse was a miniseries that Dan Slott created with Spider-Man, and it worked, and they reshaped it, and launched an IP, launched a whole nother thing off it. So that's the value of publishing today, as far as comics goes, like major corporate comics, anyway.
Again, in 2022, and again, like the business process is, you put out an anime with like maybe the first arc of a manga, and then you sell manga. In 2022, the market size for manga was 12.13 billion. Now, granted, that's like 3 Marvel movies, but still, that's nothing to sneeze at. So, like, if Disney's getting into manga and anime, maybe this is like maybe they find synergies or whatever and make it work somehow like that.
I think Classy has a good point here.
Yeah.
Comics are now $5 a piece, and they're 22 to 32 pages.
The economics of I love comics, but I can't afford to read them. Right. Yeah. And this is why it's like piracy goes up because you want to read comics, but it's expensive. Like it's expensive. Like it's an expensive hobby. And I don't know how you afford it anymore, basically.
Marvel mangas.
Right. Like standard for manga is like $8 a book. Of course, you get way more.
Manga's different, though.
Yeah,
Manga's
I know.
It's black and white. There's big, thick volumes. Like it's more economic.
True.
And it's also different. Like in Japan, you go on a bus, right? You're going to see a bunch of people reading manga. Comics have never quite had that level of penetration with adults in the U.S. Like we're at the...
That's a societal thing because
it's
America still looks at that as children's stuff, whereas it's an actual art medium in Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the sausage penetration. Drew says, I hate the Spider-Verse comic. Keep Spider-Girl out of your comics. You're no DeFalco?
DeFalco.
Oh.
Another guy who's been on the show, Dave.
Yes.
I know it didn't bother me. I like the Spider-Verse comic. It's good to see him. Oh, Frosty. Hey, what's up, gang? Just got back from C2E2. Thought I'd see you there, JD. Yeah, I couldn't make C2E2 this year. The wife told me over spring break, because with spring break week, we are putting in new floors. So I spent my week putting in new floors and was not. It was bad. I mean, like, because we went in the summer. We went to C2E2 when they did the summer show. I was hoping they would keep it in the summer and not move it back into the spring, because this is not a great time of year for me personally. So it was a bummer that we couldn't go, and my kid is not happy with me because he wanted to go back and get more wrestler autographs and, dress up. And he had a blast when we went to C2E2 in the summertime. So
I've always wanted to go C2E2. I've heard it's one of the more fun. Yeah,
it's fun. Last year was like a rebuilding year, or the last summer one was like a rebuilding con. I'm curious to see. Well, Frosty, how was the show? Tell me, tut it in the chat. Tell us how it was. Classy says manga is everywhere in Japan. Lots of signs and posters all over Tokyo. They embrace the otaku culture. They do. It's totally different over there.
But it's a different culture.
It is a different culture. Like, it's just different. Japan's cool, but it's cool because it's different.
Well, but we are slowly changing how we look at that stuff, because who doesn't know who Iron Man is now, right?
Yeah, you're right. But I mean, like, Americans don't read books. Like, getting them to read comics is going to be a problem.
That's seeing the education system in certain states.
Hey, man, I'm a teacher.
They thought
I know.
there was a belief that putting the movies out would boost the comic sales, and it really didn't. But I also feel part of the problem with that was the movies at the time weren't reflecting what was going on in the books.
True.
So.
Yeah, but then when does a movie actually, like, you look at the Harry Potter movies and the Harry Potter books, and they kind of track, but not really. I mean,
yeah, well, look at the Lord of the Rings and how much was cut out of those movies, but they're still good movies. So we need to embrace the nerd culture, and the nerd.
Says Ulysses.
We need to embrace the nerd culture, and needs to be everywhere in
America.
And
then they're supposed to be like, you're supposed to be shooting guns and evil flies.
Is that what it is?
America.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I'm gonna roll coal now.
Back to Perlmutter. It'll be interesting to see if this does affect the publishing. Who knows?
Oh, Frosty says C2E2 is really nice. Chris Evans and the small cast were exiting. Oh, that's cool.
We're exiting.
Exciting,
exhibiting?
Maybe? Exhibiting. I don't know.
Or exciting.
I assume that's a typo.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool. I've never. I don't know. I'm not big on the autographs. With what I spent to get my son CM Punk's autograph, I never will be an autograph guy. Exciting. I thought that was it. I don't care for. I've just never been an autograph guy personally.
Yeah.
After I went and got what's her name? Who played Agent Carter?
Haley Atwell.
Haley Atwell. Yeah. After I went through the rigmarole of getting her autograph at one of the Wizard Worlds back in the day, it's like you get 5 seconds. You don't even get to say hi before you're being pushed out by the agent.
So, to be fair, they don't want to talk to you anyway. So
this is the quote of the podcast from.
Then what's
Don.
the point? Yeah.
Yeah, you're not their friend. You're just gonna give them money for their autograph. It's a transaction.
You embrace the nerd culture, but I was born in it, molded by it.
You gotta do it like Bane. I embrace the nerd culture. I was molded by it. You gotta talk like Tom Hardy. After about an hour, that was a bit much. Like, I thought it was cool at first, but that first hour in Batman Forever, or Batman, what was that movie? Dark Knight Rises. You're like, okay, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's funny. Real quick, autographs. I haven't paid for an autograph. I've paid for 2 autographs in my life, and that was way years ago before I started volunteering, and then I've never paid for one since then.
If you substitute the word autograph for sex, this conversation is much funnier.
I only paid for sex the first time I had it, all right? I mean, come on now.
Hey, at least you admit it.
Yeah. Wait.
How about you, John? When was the first time you paid for sex?
You know what?
Speaking of paying for it, Depinder and Blind Owl.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest. We pay for sex every time we have it as men, in some way or another.
Hey, my wife's the breadwinner, not me.
I'm not touching this with a 10-foot pole.
Oh,
that's what she said.
That's damn it, Dave. My job.
Well, I knew it as soon as it came out.
All right. I bet you did.
Moving on. Deadpool 3 is coming out.
Napa.
And it has been officially announced, that Dupender and Blind Owl will be returning. The same.
I'm sorry, I just read Randy's comment. God, I'd love to pay for Haley Atwell's autograph. That's that whole thing is an episode title right there.
I don't get it, but I don't care.
Oh my God!
How do you not get it? We just made the. I guess
I know.
Along.
Yeah, we know John doesn't get it. He's a lonely man. All right. As I was saying, Dupender and Blind Owl will be officially back for Deadpool 3, which is, I think that's a good thing, because even though it's now under the Marvel Disney umbrella, they're bringing back everyone. So to me, it makes it sound like Ryan Reynolds is still having a lot of creative control over this. It's not going to be dictated by Feige, you know.
If
he's going to have to make up a lot of goodwill after Mint Mobile. So
for us,
made a lot of money on that. Did that Ryan Reynolds?
No, yeah, he did. Marathon. But after selling it,
Fair.
as like we're going up against the big guys until they offer me enough money, and then I'm selling out.
That's what you do. That's the American way, and he's Canadian, so it doesn't even matter.
It's the Canadian way. Poor Ryan. You know, he's just trying to act.
No. Never say poor Ryan. Very wealthy Ryan.
The man has like multi-generational wealth at this point.
Generational wealth and a hot wife. That is the Canadian dream.
Is it? Oh, cool.
I think
better than the American dream, I think.
Well, he succeeded.
All right. I think we need to move to Canada.
I'm game.
All right. Pack your bags. We're leaving tonight.
Tickets to paradise.
Are we excited for Deadpool 3?
Sure. I need to see a trailer.
Yeah.
In concept, sure. Yeah, sounds great. I want to see something to get real excited, because right now it's like Schrodinger's movie, like it exists but it doesn't exist. So I just want to see something.
Well, what we're all thinking of is that, okay, like even if Ryan Reynolds is in charge of it, how much interference would Disney play into it, right?
Why would they put in any? You know, they bought when you buy. This is what Disney usually does.
That's
right?
true.
You buy, Paradise is Canada for sure. You buy something, and if it works, you let it run. That's what they've done with Marvel, right? That's what Disney did with Marvel.
That's
right?
not what anybody does. Like you let it
that's
run. That's
exactly what these companies.
Look at almost any trilogy of movies. Like most of them fail because
the
first one does great, and then the executives go, oh, well, you have to put this in the next one because blah blah blah.
But that's not what I'm talking about here. Like when you buy, like when a company buys, and this case 20th Century Fox I'm talking about here. 20th Century Fox was purchased by Disney. When Disney has a tendency, like most major companies, you purchase something and it works, you let them run it. You just let them run it underneath you.
They are the smartest about that.
And Deadpool the Deadpool movies
worked. They made money. Yeah. They kept Fox solvent for a number of years. Like, I think they're going to let him do his thing. I really do.
Yeah. All right. And then this feels like it's...
He might not be getting pegged, but, I think the movie will still work.
Yeah. I think a cool joke would be like when he curses, beeping it out, and then him being like, damn Disney.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll do something like that to play into it, and it'll be funny. They'll make a joke out of it.
He'll make fun of Disney. There's no way that's not going to happen.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. Disney will love it.
Going back to the restructuring.
Yeah, because every joke will give them another $1 billion.
Exactly.
Sorry, Dave. Go ahead.
Oh, can I speak now? Okay.
Also,
speak now or forever hold your peace.
The restructuring and getting rid of Perlmutter and comics tying into the movies, I feel that this is related. Blade is getting an ongoing title, which he hasn't had for some time. So they're bringing him back into the books. And I believe, my opinion is that's connected because the upcoming Blade movie.
Could be. Well, that too, you got to keep. You got to have a series come out every so often, so you keep that IP fresh. The trademark.
True.
You want that trademark out there. You got to put a Blade series out, so you keep the trademark nice and warm. Will it work? Yeah, probably get 10 issues.
Not a whole
year. Do you think it's possible to do
12?
What's that?
Do you think it is possible to do a good job?
It depends on the creative team. Do they announce creative team?
Let's see. Hold on. I did not read the full article. It is this is just talking about who the character is.
Brian Hill. Ooh, Brian Hill's good writer.
Yeah, and
not Elena Casagrande.
Not familiar with her work, but
me neither.
Yeah, I mean, Brian Hill is a good writer.
Yeah, he's a good writer. So I'm more intrigued by that. I like Brian Hill's stuff. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah. Is it going to be now? Here's a real question: are they going to? Because this Blade always tends to kind of straddle that line, and it's kind of tough. Are they going to steer into this as a horror title, or are they going to go try to integrate into the MCU, into the 616?
My guess would be trying to integrate it more into the 616, so that help integrate him more into the Marvel universe in the movies.
I think that Blade works best being Blade. Like a Blade series, a Blade should be a horror title. It should be him fighting vampires and shit.
They should work that into Werewolf by Night. Like
Classy says, it looks like Marvel kind of did. Marvel's going to recon Peter as a mutant. They tried that before. They've kind of tried that before, and it didn't work. I don't think they're going to do that.
We'll see if that happens. I don't know. I don't know why they would do that. Although Marvel does weird things sometimes. Whenever they try to do something stupid with Peter, you just have to remember that it's not going to stick, and they'll give it back. They'll change it back. Never works.
And then the last article, again, another Marvel thing. So we all saw Avatar 2, right, guys? No, okay. But Josh Friedman,
and the crowd goes wild,
who wrote Avatar 2, has been tapped to write the Fantastic Four reboot. So, what do we think?
Try not to.
I mean, it's one of those things like
Avatar 2 has the plot line has a hell of a lot of problems.
I was gonna say I've heard people mocking the movie, so.
But it's camera. Here's the thing, though: when people give writers too much credit and blame when it comes to Hollywood, you're doing a job, right? And you're doing what the director / producer, in this case Cameron, who's a megalomaniac, wants.
True.
He's not shaping. He didn't shape the story of Avatar 2. Cameron gave him a series Bible and said, "Write this." I don't have the time. I mean, that's all he is. He just do a job, right? It doesn't say one thing or the other, so it's like I don't want to base my expectations for what something can be on what a guy did working for James Cameron of all people.
True.
I
can't disagree with that. I really can't disagree with that.
So
how many movies have been written by someone like, I don't know, Goyer, where one movie is really good or decent, and then another one is crap, and
you're serving the needs of the producer. You're doing what they want you to do, unless it's something you wrote on spec, right? That's your baby, but that's becoming less and less frequent, right? So especially when it comes to these things, he's going to get hired. They're going to tell him what they want, and if they don't, and what they're going to do anyway, because this is just what Hollywood does, is they're going to hire 3 more people to rewrite them. Man, we love this script. Now who can we bring in to rewrite it?
That's the other thing, right?
That's what they do.
They'll rewrite it a bunch of times. So, all right. Well, guys, that is. Do you have something to say, John?
Yeah, this is why the book is always better than the movie.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Most of the time.
9 times out of 10.
9 times out of 10.
That is all the news. So I'm going to say, again, if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and click that subscribe button down below. Give us a like. Give us a comment. We greatly appreciate it. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with our main topic.
In the eerie world of deep, dark dungeons, mystery and magic seem real. There's good against evil with advanced Dungeons & Dragons action figures. War Duke, Kellic, Strongheart, and Bronze Dragon, each sold separately.
Beware, Strongheart. We will cast an evil spell and steal the treasure. Well, evil is no match for good. The treasure is safe.
Advanced Dungeons & Dragons action figures, Kellic, War Duke, Bronze Dragon, Strongheart, each sold separately from LJN.
Begone, evil, evil! Can I tell you a quick story?
Sure.
I worked in Walden Books back in 1990 and 89. For the younger ones watching this, a bookstore was a store where you could go, where they actually had books in the store you could buy.
They still have those. Barnes & Noble still exists.
I know.
This is weird.
Okay,
wait.
But
Don said his uncle had those toys, but his mom said no.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I'm working in Walden Books. They come out with Dungeons & Dragons second edition. So so I'm putting up a big display for second edition, and a woman comes over to me and says, "Don't you know what you're doing? That's Satan's work." They called it the Satanic
That's aisle
Panic.
6, lady. Oh yeah, Satanic Panic of the 80s. Oh yeah.
Yeah, remember that? They're like that was like the last gasp, I guess. Well, it did kind of move into the early 90s too, but people there were a lot of religious groups that were like, this promotes Satan, just like they're doing now with the Harry Potter books, actually. But one of the casualties of that was the original Deities and Demigods book from Dungeons and Dragons. It had actual stats for Satan, Beelzebub, and all these other things. And the backlash from the religious groups was so bad that they took those out. And now, if you could find a copy of Deities and Demigods with that stuff in it, it's worth thousands of dollars, because
that is so funny, because one of the guys that we played with all the time had that book, and we weren't interested in using any.
See, I got the second printing, so it doesn't have those in it, so it's just worth what it's worth, which is still a lot because it's a very old book that not a lot of people had at the time. But
so
still,
obviously, we're here to talk about the Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves movie.
Not gonna let me drop in the Tom Hanks made-for-TV movie where he killed somebody because he played Dungeons and Dragons. Okay, fine.
For those watching,
I was accused of being a devil.
The bookcase behind me, almost every book is Dungeons and Dragons.
I was accused for being a devil worshiper in middle school for playing D&D in the 90s. Well, Don,
Yep.
Kassan, you might be right, but a writer can see where the plot doesn't make sense. Oh, well. You're back on that. It took a while to comment, Kassan. Sense where either fix it or bring it up. If you put your name to something, you take all the credit, good or bad.
You do take all the credit, good or bad, but that's the thing, though, is you're doing a job. Like, if you can bring it up, but they say, no, we want X, then you either walk or you get paid. It's a job. Like,
Classy doesn't understand D&D.
Really sad.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
I don't understand D&D. That I was going to ask you guys. That toy was for Advanced Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay. So first there were the three Manila. First there was the three Manila rule books that came out.
History
in the
lesson
70s,
from John.
which I have on the third shelf over there. Then came the original red box set, which was Dungeons and Dragons up to 20th level. And back then, if you wanted to use magic, you were an elf. If you were a dwarf, you were a fighter. Like the
your
race was the class.
Your class, yes.
Then they came out with the blue box set, which was for characters that were over 20th level. And then after that, they came out with Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, which changed things a little, brought into the world THAC0, which I'm not even going to
hit armor class 0.
Yes.
What you had to roll to hit armor class 0.
But that was the very first edition that branched out where you could pick a human thief or a human mage instead of, you're a mage, you're an elf. And that's when it really started to take off. And then after that, there was second edition. And then after that, there was third
what?
edition,
Don.
and then there was 3.5, which everybody loved, and then there's 4. There was 4th edition, which we don't talk about, and then there's 5th edition, which is currently out now, and nobody sees a reason why there should ever be a 6th edition.
All right. So
I don't know what the fuck you just said.
I think they.
I asked, was there all I said was there a difference? And yes would have sufficed.
So
Yes.
I mean, let's put it this way, right? Like, they came out with a game with a set of rules, but like once people bought the book, who wants to play it, that's it. They're done. They can't make any more. So then they come up with the next version, then the next version, then the advanced version. Then they come up with 2nd edition.
They market those particular toys to kids, like 6-7-year-olds in the early 80s. Why was that marketed as Advanced Dungeons and Dragons rather than just Dungeons and Dragons?
Because Advanced Dungeons and Dragons was the next version after the original blue and red box sets.
Then why was the cartoon called Dungeons and Dragons?
Because
that's
of
just
licensing.
the general, and that's just the general thing. Yeah, there's actually a good video.
All of this is called Dungeons and Dragons. Just think of Advanced Dungeons and Dragons as basically Dungeons and Dragons 1.0.
There is a really good video on Toy Galaxy that explains the difference between the toys and the game and the cartoon. Like,
I will actually watch that immediately when we're done with the show, because Toy Galaxy rules as a thing. It's like Super Nintendo. Don, thank you. That actually, you broke that down very, very simply, and I can go, oh, that's a touchstone. I can make sense of that.
There you go.
Thank you. Oh boy. There's more. I'm sorry.
Right. And Kassan is correct. Each version, they were getting better and better at offering customizations of characters right up to version 3.5, where you could have feats, where you could have like a big warrior, but you get to 3rd level and you can pick a feat, and one of them's like Great Cleave. So if you hit one guy and kill him, you can keep going with the swing and kill more people. And then Hasbro got involved, and version 4.0 was written specifically so that the rules could also be easily converted into code for the video games. And it was kind of horrible, and nobody liked it, and it got too complex. So they came out with 5, which simplified everything, but isn't as exciting as 3.5. Like in 3.5, every character you roll is going to be heroic. In 5, it's kind of hard to. It takes a while to build that up. So people skip over 4. Nobody really liked it. And again, like Hasbro has been doing a lot of bad stuff. I'm surprised that this movie was so good, considering how much interference Hasbro has been committing with the Wizards of the Coast side of stuff. You're checking your phone. I am so boring right now. Right?
No.
I see.
I'm turning off my Wi-Fi on my phone because
you're both checking your phones, and I'm talking. It's like that's perfect.
Because I was getting a warning that my internet connection was low on my laptop.
I was getting a warning that my brain was shutting down.
All right,
your brain had a low voltage.
Oh my god, there's
low voltage.
So many comments.
Low signal.
Oh man, I'm so out of my element here that I'm just gonna.
So oh my god, like we have some super nerds in the chat here.
Fucking A, do we ever?
Chief TC apologist, 10 minutes history lesson.
You're lucky it's only 10 minutes, son.
All right.
Because back in my days.
Let's talk about Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, the movie we're here to talk about. So first off, just some quick information I always like to give. Box office. As of this moment, domestically 38.5 million, international 33 million, 71.5 altogether.
How much did it cost? Do we have that number?
It says 150.
Yeah.
Yeah, that with the CGI that makes sense.
CGI was pretty good. That's they said it beat industry productions. Like it beat the projections for the week, which is good, but still a ways to go.
Well, word of mouth. The thing is, word of mouth is really starting to take off, considering the last 3 movies were crap.
There were 3? There have been 4 Dungeons and Dragons movies?
This is
God
the 4th.
Damn it, JD. Why did I ask that question?
Real quick.
So it's all started with
on Rotten Tomatoes, it got the critics is a 91%, audience score is a 93%.
Good.
And then we did a little Twitter poll over on our Twitter. We're at Superheroes Speak over on Twitter. And we asked, what did you think of Dungeons & Dragons? Results will be discussed on the next episode. I gave them 4 choices. Best D&D movie ever. It was good. It was meh. Hated it. Overwhelmingly at 50% was best D&D movie ever.
Which isn't saying much considering.
Followed by it was good at 19.4%. It was meh at 16, and then hated it at 13.9%.
13% hated it?
Yeah.
Some people you can't make happy with anything.
Yeah.
There's there are a couple comments.
Those were the zealots, so the religious zealots. I can't like something that promotes Satan.
Okay, hold on. A couple comments here. The Blind Rat, aka the Joyous Stoic, said, I'd be willing to bet a lot of money on the people who voted that they hated the movie never even saw it. Random
that happens
comment
with every movie, though.
Mm-hmm.
Random comment said, I love that. It's a movie I'd love to see be good, but the trailer made it look too silly to bother with, at least in the theater. Randy Savage said, you need another option. Ran out of money watching movies, waiting till payday to watch. And Kassan said, it was great. It held its weight against bigger brands with a great story and just the right amount of comedy and heart. So, you were going to say, John?
Well, it was also the first one that was actually true to the actual game, instead of some executive saying, write a fantasy novel and we'll just slap the Dungeons and Dragons name on it.
That is so fascinating to me that you said that this is actually accurate to the game, because that's something I was wondering as I was watching this, because I felt watching again, as I clearly showcased, I don't have any touchstone to Dungeons and Dragons other than the 80s cartoon series that I watched, casually as a kid.
They were in this
movie. I caught it too.
Okay.
I caught it too. I was going to wait till we got to that scene in the movie.
Yeah,
but I saw it.
Yeah, we're spoiler free still here.
Spoiler free still. But I really, as a guy who does not know the game at all, I didn't feel like they were talking down to me or trying to sell me on a game or giving me any, if there was any game stuff, it went over my head completely and not in a way that turned me off to the movie, because I thought this was a lot of fun.
Okay, so here's a perfect question for you, JD.
Okay.
At any time, you know how when they'll make a movie and it builds on nostalgia, they'll do those scenes where it's like, we did the thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Did you ever feel like any of those scenes were like that?
Not a one.
Perfect.
I don't have those touchstones. So for me, none of them were. The only one I had was the one that we were just talking about. And I went.
But most of the time, a movie when it builds in nostalgia,
I get it.
they'll do the thing, and then it's almost like the characters turn to the screen and say, "See, we did the thing."
Yeah, and that's the thing, though. I wouldn't catch that anyway, though, because I don't know though. I don't have those touchstones. So all of those, if they were there, they went over my head, with the exception of the thing at the end. So it was fine for me. Did they do that? Did they do that?
What did they?
Like what you said, did they embrace the example?
Oh, they completely embraced the fandom. Cool. Everything was nearly accurate to the game. There were a couple, not missteps, just creative license. But it was so true to the game otherwise that guys who have been playing since 1976 like me are like,
you're old.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Sorry, Dave.
Fun fact: the game came out in 1974.
Yep.
When I was born, so I'm the same age as Dungeons and Dragons.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't know where to go with that.
I was a DM by 78.
I'm just trying to be part of the show. That's all.
No, I just think it was cool that I did not feel like as a complete outsider. Like we went to this movie because my little guys like, that looks fun, and I went, this does look fun. So I mean, I at no point did I feel like, and I thought to myself, oh man, that's really cool that Hollywood made a good just original movie. And I went, no, they didn't. This is a property. And like, I had to tell myself that in the middle of the movie because I got caught up in the story, and I did feel like there's a really good story here.
All right, so I was going to say real quick.
Okay,
we can get into all this. Like,
no, there's just one more. Yeah, I know. There's just one more spoiler-free observation, if that's okay.
All right.
The movie was structured almost exactly like a D&D game. In a normal D&D game, you have player characters, which are the people like us, and then you have a dungeon master who basically is the storyteller and God, who, you tell him what you're going to do and he tells you the consequences. And then you have the NPCs or non-player characters who are just the people that God puts around the world to either give you the details or set up traps or whatever. Like they're the ones that give you the exposition when you need it to move the plot of the game forward. If you watch the movie with that in mind, all of the people that weren't the four main characters were all very milquetoast and expositional and very bland, whereas the player characters were the ones that were always quipping and making jokes and sometimes doing stuff that seemed like things that would break continuity or break the game rules, right? Like they would do it. One of the most fun things about Dungeons and Dragons is when you're playing, if you're a character, if you mess up the DM's plan, because a dungeon master has a plan, they're taking you through a story, and like if you're supposed to stay in, this happened in a game with me, if you're supposed to stay in jail and somebody rolls a natural 20 twice in a row and breaks the jail bars and gets out, the story is completely foobar. So now you have to come up with something off the cuff. So the movie is exactly like why JD is dying here. He's like,
wake up, JD.
Just want to talk about a movie.
I know.
All right.
Well, but that's the thing. Like that's I don't know. It's something. Something.
So that's really cool, John, that they're able to do that because like a layman like me that has zero clue what's going on, all I see is just normal beats of a story, right? Mm-hmm. Character exposition, like character A has a goal. This is what's in his way, which I guess plays into the reason why Dungeons and Dragons has always worked so well, because it does play upon traditional storytelling elements.
So your point of view is going to be more important because
it's
you're the rube going in. No,
I'm a rube.
You're the rube going in. You don't know anything about this, so it's going to be interesting. Go ahead, Dave. Let's move forward.
Dave's going to die.
I know.
Oh, Dave left his own show.
you're the one that wanted us to do this, and you missed again. Us. Every book in that bookcase behind me is Dungeons and Dragons.
I made a mistake. All right, so let's start how we always do, non-spoiler. What did you think when you after you watched the movie? What did you think about it? JD, you can go first. I think you already expressed it. But
I liked it.
There you go.
Was
John,
that too hard?
John, can you say this in less than 300 sentences?
No, I can't.
What was your initial thought coming out of the theater?
I was ecstatic. I was happy. It wasn't just the fan in me and the guy who's been a DM since '78. It was also a good movie. I think it was fun.
Frosty says 299 sentences.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
My initial thoughts coming out was that I really enjoyed it. It was predictable, but yet I still really enjoyed the ride. That I didn't care about how predictable it was. So yeah, it was really good. I mean, I can't argue with the audience score and the critic score. Like, this is a good movie, and if you haven't seen it yet, go out and see it. If you're watching us right now or you're listening and you haven't seen the movie, we're going to get into spoilers if John hasn't ruined this conversation for you yet. So you can bail now and come back later after you see the movie. But otherwise, here we go.
I don't think I said anything up until now that was actually spoiler. Right?
So yeah. I love. First off, I loved the setup. I love them telling a story. You realize the main character. What's the character's name?
Ed.
What?
Ed.
Oh yeah, Ed.
Genius.
He's in jail. He's telling the story of how he got there. You know, like you're getting exposition. That's setting it up, and then they keep talking about the one Jonathan. You know,
Jonathan's waiting for Jonathan. Why is
waiting for Jonathan? Wait, where's Jonathan? Waiting for Jonathan. And they use Jonathan because he's a half bird, half man. I won't get technical, John.
Bird.
They use him to break out through the window and fly out, and then that's when the movie starts. It's like I thought that was really good. What did you guys think?
Great inciting incident. Like, because again, I was like, oh, this is going to be very exposition-y heavy, but they made it work. I think this movie does not work without Chris Pine. He's always been such a charming actor, and that when you have a film that can be so impenetrable to an outsider, what's more important than anything is relatable characters. And I think that's what really makes this movie work, is the 4 lead characters are so damn relatable, right?
Yeah.
And casting Hugh Grant as a villain is you know exactly what you're going to get with him immediately. Like this was a well cast movie. Like
so, I mean, I was going to say that too. Like obviously Chris Pine or Ed being
and calling him Ed. And calling him Ed, quite frankly, is an easy touchstone
instead of Edgin or Edwin or whatever his name
to
was.
Get a noob, a rube, whatever you want to call me, like me, invested. Because I can get invested in a dude named Ed.
Yeah, my brother's name's Ed. And then the other thing was, again, father with a daughter as a widower. Like,
oh yeah,
I'm emotionally invested right there. Boom, like you've got me. I'm hooked for the rest of this movie. You know. Yeah, I mean, and let's be honest, as soon as they said Hugh Grant was a con man, you knew he was going to be somehow the villain in the movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, John?
Perfect casting.
Did you like this setup?
This setup was a perfect. I mean,
it's a D&D setup. It's
something. It's something a dungeon master would come up with, right?
The dungeon master is telling you how you got to the point where the adventure begins.
Yep.
That's exactly what that was, too.
And by the way, Jonathan was, I believe, a Kenku, but you know, there's gonna be a lot of that. I recognize
bird dude.
Yeah, bird dude. Yes.
Okay, I want to say something because they have expanded so much since the game came out. But did you know?
Tell me about it. I've got like at least 5 different monster.
I'm sure John knows this. JD, did you know that a lot of the original Dungeons and Dragons characters, creatures, and whatnot were based on Tolkien's writings?
No, but I can see that.
Yeah.
Except
Go
ahead.
Go ahead, John.
No, go ahead. I'll shut my mouth.
It's just funny. Like John is so excited to talk about this stuff. Like you can tell the passion is just like literally like resonating off of you in this one. It's humorous.
I'm not saying I took it word for word, but it's obviously was.
No, it's very. Yeah. I think that Tolkien has had such a huge impact on fantasy writing in general. I think it's hard not to have those type of things. So it makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah. Oh, and Kassan Ward says Jonathan was an Arakgorka. Thank God, I can't even pronounce that. That was not. I forget if that was an official one for a while or an unofficial one for a while, and then became an official later. So yeah, Kassan.
Bird dude.
Bird dude, right? And in D&D, elves are normally shorter than humans, not taller. But
Don says that's
but
why.
Otherwise, they were, it's the same thing, nature based and all that.
To be fair, Tolkien's the only person who's ever had an elf taller than a human.
Right.
True.
Right, and that's the thing. And then elves are tall in D&D, so it was just like, like you can see the influence there.
Elves aren't tall in D&D. That's the thing.
Okay, now I'm confused. Are elf newbie? like layman, are elves tall in D&D? Yes or no?
They were shorter.
You guys have
than
been
humans in
conflicting.
D&D.
Okay, you guys are conflicting on this. So
No, but in later on they
Dave is not buying you, by the way. I know what Dave
later
is
on
doubting.
they expanded the elven races to high elf and
that's what
forest
I'm
elf
thinking
and
of.
whatever, and the high elves are tall like Tolkien elf. They are basically the Tolkien elves, but otherwise, I'm
going to leave the Tolkien
originally.
elves alone.
If you look at the original Red Box edition, and beyond, elves are normally shorter, so.
Thank you, Don.
Thank
Don
you,
is
Don.
just Don is cutting to the core of stuff tonight. I need you here, Don. I'm not going to make it through this episode without you.
All right.
He's the translator.
I need it. I'm just like, I don't know what we're talking about this week. All I know is I saw a fun movie. Chris Pine's really good.
He
Michelle
is
Rodriguez,
really
also
good.
Good casting. Let's yeah, Dave, continue.
So we like this stuff. So again, yeah, I agree with what John is saying though, because that does feel like a D&D setup. The way they bring us into this movie, and then now you've got the two characters, and they have to rebuild the party, the adventuring D&D party, to go and get the stuff they need to get the resurrection stone, the mulligan. Like, that's a basic D&D campaign. You got to get this thing to finish the goal that you want to do.
Right.
Yeah.
And the trick they did with the hither thither and the painting and all that is classic. We've screwed the DM's plot up, so now we have to come up with something creative to do what we need to do. Like that whole heist scene was just beautiful. And very well done. That was one of the best heist scenes I've ever seen.
You know what I liked about this movie is like they really boiled it. It could be so easy to be lost in the minutia of all this, right? Because they're like listening to John. There's so much to draw from, and it could be really easy. But it's a heist movie, right? That's what it was at its core. This was a heist movie. And
Most
that's what
D&D
they did.
Campaigns are heist movies.
And that's what's cool about it. Like this, I'm watching this movie like this is structured like a Ocean's 11.
Right.
Right. We build the team. We go steal the thing. The thing, stealing the thing got us in trouble. Now we got to get out of trouble because we fucked up stealing the thing.
You bastard, I'm in.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it was. I'm like, oh, this is fun. It actually, I jokingly say to myself, oh, this is like the Blues Brothers. Even the Blues Brothers is structured like a heist movie. So that's again, like this was a really tricky script to write, right? Because you have to pay so much fan service, and you have to dumb it down for the dorks like me, right? That don't know, that just want to see a movie, and they walked that fine line so well, where I never felt like an outsider watching this thing.
So one of the things
great,
yeah, fantastic.
Which just goes to show you that this is literally the best Dungeons and Dragons movie. Sorry, Dave.
I will take your word for that.
One of the things I would like to really say about this movie is it succeeds where Shazam! Fury of the Gods failed.
Yeah, I agree with that.
We have a team movie. We have 4 very well-defined characters, 4 main characters, where Shazam failed to do that.
Oh yeah, like the whole Shazam family was like
no one had an arc.
Amorphous.
Yeah.
Right.
Nobody but Billy and Freddie had an arc.
They were doing the Shyamalan thing. We'll give them one character trait, and that's good, and that's it.
But and again, I blame Jeff Johns for that because there's too damn many of them. Like, I'm still shocked that we're stuck with this for what Shazam is, when Shazam is such a simple concept in and of itself. That's 2 weeks ago's show, but again, like this is a great example of how you make a ton of stuff work for your narrative rather than letting it bog down your narrative. And there was tons of info dump in Shazam that I didn't feel at all in this movie. Right. And there's various times people are narrating at you, not to you, but at you. And this
would be the movie where you would normally get info dump because there's so much history behind this. Like they're mentioning characters like Elminster and Mordenkainen, like Mordenkainen. That's like ancient D&D lore to us D&D
or even
guys.
just like
right over my head.
Like one that using Baldur's Gate and Neverwinter, which are modules.
Icewind Dale was introduced right in the beginning. It's like, oh my god, I played those games.
they're all modules you can play within D&D. They're pre-done campaigns.
And they're also BioWare games, which were some of the best Dungeons and Dragons games
and
ever
using
made.
them as the names of the places was brilliant in this. You know, like
that's cool. See, again, for me, that's just the name of a city. That is really neat. That's like, again, this is it's a really smart script, and they could have drowned themselves. Like I said, they could have really buried themselves in all this stuff, and they didn't. They didn't. They play it to strengths. Because again, I think at the end of the day, movies work best when they're about the stories in general work best when they're about people, and this was a movie about 4 people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right. And it's with everyone has like super relate again. It's easy to lose yourself in the world building, right? Everyone has very relatable goals, right? Everyone wants something that's very simple to understand. And that makes it work.
Right.
And they had a good, like, how many people really, really hated Forge, Hugh Grant's character? The
and that's the whole
who's now, okay, little personal history here.
You don't like Hugh Grant? You have personal beef with Hugh Grant?
No, I don't.
Oh.
No, I haven't talked to my daughter in 7 years now.
Trying to make jokes.
So when this guy is like stealing Chris Pine, Edgin's daughter away, wanted to kill the guy. So like, but any normal person without my situation probably, would have felt the same way. It's like, you steal somebody's daughter away, oh, you're trash. That's it. Like, it's hard to make a bad guy that you can really hate and therefore connect with. This they even had a good bad guy in this.
And it wasn't like a scenery chewing bad guy. Like it
right.
wasn't like
like the previous
wizard.
ones.
Yeah. Like it wasn't just like I don't know, like you have an evil red wizard, but I mean like she's not the driver of the like she is, but she's not like the villain. Hugh Grant is the villain. Forge, which again I don't like his name because I kept thinking of the X-Men. I'm sure Don was in the same boat as me.
Yeah, I got that too, actually.
Yeah, it was hard to think. Like every time I said Forge, I'm like, But Hugh Grant, great casting, completely despicable, but but it worked.
And that's what works too, because they all have a common enemy in this guy, and then they become friends from having to go on this adventure together. And I think it works. It's you can't fault it. So I'm gonna ask. There was a lot of characters in this movie. Who was your favorite character in the movie?
I'll go first. Chris Pine is the best character, right? I think he's the most well-rounded character. He's got the most to do. He carries the movie.
Yes.
I like Sophia Lillis because I just like her. She's really good in it. She has the least to do, but I mean, like, I find that I just found her interesting on the whole. I think she's really good. She's really kind of like subdued in her performance here, and she's got like the most over the top character I found. So I really liked the two of them. Michelle Rodriguez is really good too. Like I don't know, I think everybody was good. Like they put out good performances, but I don't think this movie works without Chris Pine.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. How about you, John?
Sophia Lillis was able to, like you said, JD, like more subtle performance, and yet get across her emotions, which is really cool. Other than that, again, this doesn't work with Chris Pine. I just agree with everybody in that. And Michelle Rodriguez is just awesome.
She's great, yeah.
I liked was it Regé-Jean Page as Zenk, because, and again, this goes from the fact that I'm a D&D player. He was the epitome of every expositional, really freaking annoying paladin that I've ever played with.
So first off, even Marky Mark from So Wizard said the paladin was my favorite of mine. I always played a paladin, so I loved that to me was that was the epitome of what a paladin is supposed to be, and it was and they use him as the NPC to help further the story. and have so he's such the epitome of the character, it works. And it's that.
And paladins in Dungeons and Dragons are basically there to screw up all of your plans.
No.
No, seriously, like if you've captured somebody and you need to interrogate them, the paladin is the one that's sitting there saying, you can't hurt them because my God says that, everybody's a person, blah, blah, blah. Like they're always the ones that screw up your plans because I've run campaigns where like the character was like, oh, Sir Silver Sword, why don't you, come over here? Yeah, we're going to go out and get some groceries. Okay. And then while he's gone, that's when you break the guy's kneecaps to get the information. It's like, paladins.
What kind of game is this?
No.
Well, the way John plays it, it's, a little
very mafioso.
It's Dungeons and Dragons. It's like you do what you need to get the job done. But the thing is that paladins are always the most of the time they're lawful good.
Well, first off, they have a set of rules they have to follow, and if they
or else their
god
rules, gets mad at them and
they
won't
lose
give
their
them
abilities.
anymore.
They have special abilities. But I will say this: they have changed it in the latest rules. You don't have to be lawful good all the time anymore.
Well, no, there were paladins that could have been lawful evil too, but they were always lawful, which meant that they were always constrained by rules.
Right.
You know what my kid's favorite scene in the whole movie was?
Oh, what? Yeah. That's interesting.
This is interesting. Do you know what his favorite part of the whole movie was? The resurrections.
Oh God!
They were interrogating him with the resurrection. They were, and I think this is what really makes the movie work is that it's fun. There's a lot of jokes, but they work with the story.
Did you stay for the after credit scene, the mid credit scene?
The mid credit scene I saw where he was still was still there. That made me laugh. I had a hunch that was coming around. That was hilarious. Like that was I like that.
And again, those scenes are a perfect example of what a DM would do if the characters had pissed him off by breaking his plot. Because that's what you do. Like one of the biggest rules that every player character knows in Dungeons and Dragons is never make a wish. Because the DM will twist that wish into something that will just either kill your character outright or make you wish you never played the game. It's like a monkey's paw, right? So like
I never want to play a campaign that you're the DM on.
DMs can be nice, but also
I don't feel that you are.
But if you have a problem character, that's that first the first set of questions. That's exactly what a DM who had a problem character, a problem player would do to him. Would be like, that he was like, yes. He's gone. You asked your sixth question, but I didn't ask anything. I was asking him. Nope, sorry, you were in the vicinity, and he answered the question. So it's just really fun.
We're in interesting territory here. The concept of a what did you say? What kind of character?
What?
Me?
You said no, John. You said a
player character or
a troublemaker.
A troublemaking character player. Yeah, I've had troublemaking players.
Somebody who's like messing up your story. I love that. Like in my mind, the DM creates an archetype, like an architecture for a story, and then the characters are supposed to bring it to life. Not
within reason, but sometimes you get somebody who plays the game that you didn't know had a, let's say, colorful personality, and they decided that like either they're rules lawyers and they're ruining the game for everybody else, or they're just like messing with you. And at that point, you just have to remind them that, hey, the DM is God. So, like, literally, why would you piss off God? So,
John, you should start a YouTube D&D game night.
Oh, God. Yeah.
All right. So, anyway, back to the movie. What was your favorite scene, John?
Well, okay. So, first, again, we're in spoiler territory. So, they come around the corner in the labyrinth, and there are the original adventurers from the Dungeons and Dragons animated show from back in the 80s. That was really cool. Other than that, the dragon,
the fat dragon.
Themberchaud. That's Themberchaud.
Right.
Like that's an actual dragon in Dungeons.
Right.
There's very few named dragons in Dungeons and Dragons. Themberchaud is one of the named ones.
Usually it's the great worms that are named.
Yeah. Usually it's Tiamat and Bahamut and a few others.
I'm just making dumb jokes. I had a case of Grey Worms once. It wasn't fun. Sorry.
No, Themberchaud is the dragon that ate the other dragons. Because it was funny to see a chunky dragon.
It was funny. It's funny. Like obviously they picked him for the humor of him being fat.
Yeah.
But like I actually watched somebody online do like a video reaction to the movie, and he was complaining about it. And he goes, "Well, but I've never been a D&D guy. I've never played the game." It's like, well, then you don't get it. You're not on the inside of that.
Well, I thought that was fun.
And he's like, it was the only dragon. No, it wasn't the only dragon in the movie.
We had a couple of dragons.
We had a couple of dragons, and we had the stone dragon at the end. So it's like,
but that's the other thing. They got them right because in Dungeons and Dragons, every colored dragon has a different breath weapon.
Yes.
The first one was a black dragon, so it was spitting acid breath. Thumberchaud's a red dragon, which means he spits fire. Right. So it was nice. And the other dragon was just an animated rock dragon. So yeah. So fine. Yeah, I know. Like it's hilarious, JD, but it's just
I'm just listening, man. I'm merely an observer on this podcast.
But what I love is the fact that you still loved the movie.
I did,
and didn't get the hint that it was constantly doing fan service to you. Which normally is really apparent, even if you don't know what the fan service is.
What I loved was like they used the creatures that like you don't think about. And other, they're really
the displacer beast and the gelatinous cube.
The displacer beast, the gelatinous cubes, and the mimics. It's
the
like
mimic. Oh, the mimic.
Like unless you've played D&D games, you don't know these creatures. They're not used in a lot of other lore, but it's like it's cool to see it. The mimic was the chest that tried to eat the one character, JD.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So because it looks like a treasure chest.
Oh, the treasure chest with the Lovecraftian tongue.
Yeah. That's an actual monster in Dungeons and Dragons.
So is the gelatinous. The gelatinous cube, and like, it's so made fun of by people who play the game, but yet they showed like, no, this thing is really deadly. You get caught in it, you're gonna die. Yeah. So,
and the owl bear.
The owl bear was cool.
That is one of right. Thanks, Classy.
This is Chief DC apologist D&D talk.
Yeah,
Chief D&D apologist.
But the owl bear in the beginning, like that's one of my favorite scenes right
there.
I'm
officially changing your title to D&D expert.
Great. Okay. Shall we talk about Ivar's black tentacles now? Because all the spells were accurate.
What do you want to do with those tentacles, John?
No, not anime tentacles.
Anyway, you were saying about the owlbear?
Yeah, about that first scene where it's like, that's her tied to the tree. She's about to lose her. It's like, no, that's not her. And then she's the horse. That was awesome.
I love that introduction of her. Right, because it is like, you think she's the one tied to the chair. No, she's the owlbear. It's like, okay, that works. I mean, it was such a great way to do that. Yeah.
Now, owlbear is not one of the things you can turn into as the 5th level spell. Druid spell. but that's okay. We're gonna give him a pass on that because we got to see an owl bear too.
Did you say tentacles? No, Classy.
Okay. No, they showed the spell Black Tentacles in this, but the original spell that was based off of was Ivard Black Tentacles from the Forgotten Realms expansion book for I think it was for the second edition. Yeah, for second edition. So or was it advanced? I forget which one. Either advanced or a second edition. There was a Forgotten Realms, and Forgotten Realms is the name of the world too. But there was a expansion book and it had Ivard's Black Tentacles in it, which I used to destroy a DM's plot once. So
my favorite scene, I think, was the when they were trying to put the painting into the carriage to get
that was brilliant.
It was blocked so well. The special effects are amazing. Like the physics, even though it's a D&D magic thing going on, the physics makes sense where like the painting is dragging along on the ground and they're like hanging in the thing, I think the only thing with the physics is it seemed like it was going too slow past them. Like they had all this time and they could see the caravan, they could see them on the hill sticking in there where they would have been way past them at that point. But other than that, I thought it was really well done. One of the best scenes like that I've ever seen in a movie.
Well, there was also that one joke where the guards look up at the top of the hill and they saw one guy trying to get the other one out of the painting, but they didn't realize that, and it looked kind of risque.
Yes,
it looked a little risque.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, speaking of sausage,
little sausagey,
little sausagey,
little sausagey.
Okay, okay.
This movie hit you guys on such a different level than it hit me. Like, it's crazy. Like, I'm like, well, of course, I would never pick up any of this stuff. It's crazy to me.
I'm watching that scene thinking, like, how does this play? Like, if you were playing the game, right? Like, how does this play out? Because you're like, all the rolls for all the saves that you're trying to make, like, not falling and getting run over by the carriage. And, like, they would have taken an hour out of the game to make that work playing the game. Like, it was
right.
I know,
but I've had players that have come up with really complex things like that. Like the whole point, in the early 90s, I ran as a DM. I ran a game for a youth group, and the whole point was to teach them tactics. I went over stuff with Clausewitz on war and Sun Tzu's Art of War, and it was just teaching them how to deal with curveballs in life sometimes. Like and that's the kind of creative thinking you want to see. So it would take like I'd say that would take an entire afternoon for them to work their way through that scene. But that was really creative, and this movie just was awesome.
So,
I actually think we should have gotten JD's score on this before we started explaining all this.
Movie? I mean, like, I had a better time in the movie than I did right now. I'll tell you that, right?
All right, so let me ask you this. Let's get back to the movie.
Let's get away from fun.
Let's get out of the nerd talk.
This is where superheroes speak. What do you mean get rid of the nerd talk?
We did say, okay, so a lot of stuff's predictable in this movie, right? Like, Hugh Grant being the villain, we saw that coming. I think, agree with me or disagree with me, I think the end of the movie is very predictable.
Oh, with her using the pendant that makes her disappear to solve it? Yeah, it was fine.
No, not that. That someone in the party was going to get hurt, and the tablet wasn't going to be used to bring the wife back. The tablet was going to be used.
I didn't. I had a hunch the tablet it's a MacGuffin. I had a hunch the tablet would not be used. I actually thought he would come to his senses and not bring his wife back, because I'm looking at this from like typical literary. But when I saw what was happening, I went, "Oh, okay, yeah." I knew that they were never going to bring the wife back because you just don't do that, right? Like, you never do that. So, and again, it's her mom, right? I love that sequence, by the way, where he realizes that he's been trying to bring back her mother, but her mother has been there the whole time.
Yeah.
Right? I thought that was beautiful. I thought that was beautiful storytelling. I really did.
It's things on top of all the technical writing that just made this really.
No, it's the human. It's like I said, it's the humanity. This movie is way more human than I felt it was going to be, and it probably should have been. Like, it was. Sometimes I think these movies go too much in the direction of fan service, right? And then you don't get the normies. You don't get the people who aren't invested. Me, if we never did this show, right, and I would have known none of the stuff you guys have talked about, my opinion this movie doesn't change one bit, because it was a good story, right?
Yeah. No, I agree. Which leads to my question: was there anything in the movie that did surprise you?
That surprised me? Seeing the 80s Dungeons and Dragons kids surprised me.
Okay.
I felt like we got an end to their story. They died, it turns out. I don't know. I went into this movie as a blank slate, so a lot of this I didn't know what to expect. Right? I had no expectation. I had zero expectations going in. So, it was fun.
How about you, John?
What?
Did anything like surprise you in the movie?
I was just surprised at how good it was.
Yeah.
I didn't expect them, like, I expected at best fan service. I mean, again, this is like the 4th movie they've made.
I got an idea.
But they put so much heart into it and money that
a lot of money.
A lot of money.
A lot of money. That's for sure.
I was none of the CGI looked bad either.
I thought it looked good. I like this movie.
Pleasantly
Wasn't super
surprised.
dark, right? I was noticing that this movie isn't like watching the movie. It's not super dark.
Yeah.
Things are lit. People are wandering around in the daylight. Like you don't see that a whole lot.
Even
Like,
the graveyard.
When the graveyard was
or when they're going into the cave and the paladin's like, "Oh, if it gets too dark, you can hold my hand," and they make the joke about, "I'm not going to hold his hand," but like I was expecting that to be like a scene where like you can't see anything, and it's like no, like they didn't do that.
This movie was well lit, which we're not used to anymore in films. I enjoyed it. I have an idea for next week's show.
What is it? Oh no! I see it in your eye. No, you're not allowed to say that. Don't you dare! Don't you dare!
We'll get to that.
Reality.
God damn it!
We'll say it when we get to the end. All right. I'm with John. I was surprised at how good this movie is. Better than it deserves to be.
Yeah, you're right. This is one of those ones that slipped through the cracks. Like and especially with the way Hasbro has been for lately.
Yeah,
like they've been almost
suck.
Yeah, but not only that, but they've been actively trying to literally destroy the Dungeons and Dragons brand.
Why?
Like they're normally.
Why did I ask that question? Continue. I'm sorry.
So back in the 70s, no. Okay, you get the idea of copyright and licensing, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So the thing is that, Vox Machina, or okay, so other people can make campaigns off of this and sell their campaigns, right? The license, it's an open license, right? They can't make a movie, but they can sell their own stuff, that relates to this kind of.
I'll give you an
example. Word for it.
JD, I'll give you an example. Are you familiar with the band the Dead Milkmen?
Yes.
So they did one of the guys from Dead Milkmen did a campaign on what's the Kickstarter. He created his own Dungeons and Dragons module. And then anyone who contributed got a copy of it. The last time I played Dungeons and Dragons was at my friend's birthday last year, and that's what we played was the Dead Milkmen module.
So you can write a module as an adventure. So you could write an adventure and sell it. Yeah. And that's okay, even if it uses monsters from D&D and stuff.
Okay, and Hasbro is not cool with this.
Hasbro just tried
to
put a new licensing into production, which meant that anybody who did that made a certain level of money had to pay them a certain percentage of it.
Right.
I understand that completely, actually. Okay.
I know, but the thing is that when licensing stood for 40 years.
Yeah, I get it. I
I
get the whole concept now. I understand.
Yeah. So, Hasbro has been, and they've been slightly rebuffed.
But you got to look at it like this too. Is like, how often does Dungeons and Dragons get advertised in the year 2023? Probably not a lot, right? So this is going to cast a wide net, and probably you're going to get a lot more D&D fans because, I'm not going to, but I imagine a lot of people who see this movie are going to be like, hey, maybe D&D is fun to play. But maybe not, because it's not like the Marvel movies led to a boost in comic readership, but maybe.
D&D is a different animal, though, because
clearly
you see this movie, you can go get the 3-book starter set with the Monster Manual, the DM's Guide, and the Player's Guide, and you have a piece of paper and a pencil, and you can play with a group.
Yes, I could do that.
In fact,
you won't, though.
Nowadays, you don't even need that. You can go online and everything
That's
is online.
true. Everything is online.
Everything's online. You can create your character right online and then print it out, because that's what we did when we played last year. So yeah, I mean it's all there. Like,
well, yeah, but the thing is,
you don't need those old things called books anymore.
Yeah, but you can buy the
books.
books.
What good have they done anybody?
You can buy the books and you can play with a group. But again, Hasbro's gotten involved, and if you go and use D&D Beyond, which is the website, you have to re-buy the books again in digital form in order to use them when you create your characters or stuff. It's really stupid.
They own it. Like, I get it.
I know, but the way they handled that was kind of a piss in your face type of thing.
All right.
You know?
So, what else can we say about this movie?
It's fun. Go see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I wanted to say to the fan service thing though, like the idea of fan service is a little harder with D&D because, and again, go watch if you haven't watched the Toy Galaxy.
I will.
Video. I'm talking to people watching, listening. On like D&D, the toys versus the game versus the cartoon. Like there was never a cohesive marketing thing for all that stuff. I think JD fell over.
JD is trying to tunnel.
My computer got unplugged. I'm just trying to plug it back in before I lose power. I'm trying to be subtle and I'm failing miserably. Continue.
It looks like you're trying to tunnel out of the podcast. I finally chased JD out.
Oh my god!
I wish I had thought about that, to be honest with you, because that would have been a great bit to try, and I'm mad at myself for not doing it.
Slowly sinking down.
So, Marky Mark has a question. So, if I like this movie and wanted to watch more Dungeons and Dragons type content, hold on to that thought, Marky. But I don't want to play the game. Should I watch Vox Machina?
You can. It's a more raw version. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, you should. Yes, I'll just say yes.
Good answer.
Yes.
I was going to say there isn't like a lot of stuff to fall back on to do fan service for, right? Like again, the idea is they come out with these modules, and the idea is though you take it and you make it your own. You play the game how you want. It's your characters, becomes your story in a world that someone else created, but it's still, other than like the video games like Baldur's Gate and whatnot, there isn't a huge audience that has a nostalgia to fall back on. So I think that's also what makes this work. They can just take the world and write a really good story within it.
We should also say that this world that the movie was set in is Forgotten Realms.
Yeah.
There are other worlds like Gary Gygax made Greyhawk, and there are other worlds besides Eberron. Eberron's the starter one.
The vampire one.
I forget what that one is, but there's also Dragonlance. I forget what the name of Dragonlance was.
Oh, Vampire Masquerade, that thing?
No. There's a module where like
I was trying to participate.
It's actually based on a lot of stuff in in those modules are based on Bram Stoker's Dracula. It's like Dracula and Renfield and who's the famous vampire hunter? Van Helsing. Van Helsing's like you read Van Helsing's for this diary, right? For the stories for the modules. Yeah.
But the thing is that this one is Forgotten Realms. It was created by Ed Greenwood, who also wrote a lot of stories based in it, and it's also where one of the largest D&D book series ever occurs. The Dritz Duerden series, who is a dark elf, and there's a whole story behind that too. And that was by I forget the author's name, and I don't know why, because Salvatore, R.A. Salvatore.
Oh, R.A. Salvatore. Yeah, Don mentioned him earlier.
Yeah, R.A. Salvatore is like he's a god amongst the D&D rabbit.
Before we go down another D&D rabbit hole with John,
no, I won't go. That's all. I just wanted to mention that
let's wrap this one up.
Okay,
let's go around. Let's give a score, 1 through 10 Lances, and your final thoughts on the movie. And JD, you can go first.
Man, I have none of the appreciation for this lore and this. It's more than a world. It's this entire thing that you guys do. I just enjoyed the movie that I saw, and it was a lot of fun. It was well acted. It was well written. It was a good time at the movies, and it was nice to see something that I don't have expectations into. Right? Yeah, go see it. I give it 8 out of 10.
All right, John, can you keep this short?
No.
That's my line. I can keep it short. If you want to watch a Dungeons & Dragons movie that's more entertaining than watching Jeremy Irons chew on the scenery in the original Dungeons & Dragons movie, yeah, and boy, he ate half the scenery. Let's just he just went hog wild. This is the movie you want to see. This is the Dungeons & Dragons movie that all of the fans have been waiting for decades, and even if you're not a D&D fan, take JD's word for it. But it is way better than it should have been. You want my score? Is it 9?
Yes.
I'm giving it 9.5.
Wow.
Even beyond the fact that I'm a fan and I've been playing since 76, even so, it was still a really good movie in and of its own.
Classy says, wait till Warhammer 40K. Now that's big lore. I don't know, Classy.
Are they ever going to make that?
I don't know if there's as many people play that as there are that play D&D. All right, I will say, I'm going to reiterate, I believe this movie is way better than it deserves to be. It's definitely the D&D movie fans have been waiting for decades. Special effects are amazing. The story has a lot of heart. I definitely was brought in right away with the main character, and there's a lot of similarities. So I'm not going to go 9.5. I'm going to go 9. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10.
That's still pretty damn good.
Yeah, if you have not seen this movie, you should go see it now.
I agree. Go see it.
Let's make sure this movie makes enough to get a sequel, because I think it deserves one.
Oh, good for kids too, right?
Yeah, good for kids. Andy had a blast. There was a couple slow parts that lost his interest a little bit, and he got a little squirmy. But he at least 10 times he looked over and goes, Dad, this is good. This is good. So he was in. I don't know if he's ever going to play Dungeons. He doesn't even know Dungeons and Dragons is a game. So he just saw a movie. He just saw a movie with dragons and having people adventuring and, some girl who can change shape. And he was like all in. So, he's in, although he has become quite the Pokemon fan over these last few weeks. Getting Pokemon
he's got plenty of movies
lectures. I'm getting lectured constantly about Pokemon. Constantly.
All right. I think we can then wrap this one up here. JD, did you have something you wanted to say about next week? Did you learn Did you learn anything this week, and do you have any recommendations?
I learned so much this week, but I'm going to forget it the second we log off. My brain is so overloaded with Dungeons and Dragons lore and content. I don't know what to do with it. And none of it makes a lick of sense to me.
and you've only glanced at the surface.
And I'm good. And I'm good. I feel like I'm one of those Lovecraft books where I peered into the edge of madness and now I have to scroll back. Yeah. So that's all I got.
No recommendations?
Oh, I finished It again. I finished the audiobook of It while I was working on the floors. Steven Weber does the from He of Wings fame, does the narration, and he's phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal as a narrator. Having this Audible subscription, I've become more of a connoisseur of book narration, and boy, it's going to make me reconsider every time I want to get a book done, to be quite honest with you, because of I haven't worked with a bad narrator yet, but I've listened to some books with some not great narrators that have killed it for me. So Steven Weber should take a bow for his work on It. It was absolutely fantastic. He was absolutely fantastic.
All right, John.
shoot, like I had the name of a movie that I just watched on Netflix.
Skinemax? Oh.
No. And no, a third time I say. Damn it. I can't remember it now. It's not coming. It won't come up for me for some reason. Okay. What should I watch it again? Damn it. Okay.
Yeah, Ray finally showed up. Ray got in my DMs and said WrestleMania is in Philadelphia next year, party at Dave's. And I was going to bring that up later, but yeah, Ray finally popped in to say that.
Sure.
That's a nice little laugh. Dave said, "Over my cold dead body." I like it.
Yeah.
Continue, John.
No, I got nothing. Just see this movie.
It's a great movie. It really is.
All right. All right. Well, I learned that I don't think I would play D&D with John because he might be a bit of a control freak if he's the DM.
Not a control freak,
and he doesn't like paladins, and I love paladins. I also
we have ways of dealing with paladins.
I also recommend that if you're watching this right now and you haven't not subscribed, click that subscribe button down below, and give us a like, give us a comment, and we will be here for you every week. I also recommend that you go to superheroespeak.com where you can find the podcast every week, links to all our social media at the top of the page, and comic book reviews by our good friend Kristen, and so much more. And I got nothing for next week, but apparently JD's got a nasty idea.
I think we should review the film Dungeons and Dragons from the year 2000. I've never seen it, and I would like to compare and contrast because I think this will help grow my appreciation for this lore that John has thrown at me or bombarded me with, some would say.
It will do no such thing, and it will only reduce your IQ.
I watch,
but it's got Jeremy Irons in it. So.
I watch professional wrestling, sir. Nothing could decrease my IQ any more than it already has been plummeted. So I say we watch this piece of shit because we haven't watched a bad movie in a while, and perhaps invite some friends along with us if they're interested. Otherwise, just three of us.
Hey, it's either that or Neil Breen. So sure, let's do it.
Dave,
or the Mario Brothers movie.
Let's do both.
Oh my God! Why did I say anything? It's also Easter next week.
Oh, so we should probably think about. We should probably talk about that after the show, actually, because we're all really busy. But
all right,
yes,
I will say that.
What's the week after? Hold on. What's the week after? What comes out the week after?
I don't know.
So perhaps maybe we do Mario next week and Dungeons and Dragons, the shitty one, the following week.
Wait a minute. You say the shitty one, but that's still not. That's not specific enough. There are three.
The shitty one that got the release, because the other one looked like they were made for TV movies.
They were pretty much released direct to DVD.
I blame
sci-fi or something like that.
Yeah.
I blame Joey for this. All right.
Blame Joey. I don't know why you're blaming Joey, but yes.
All right. So I guess go watch the Mario movie because we'll be talking about that next week. On that note, as always, thanks for watching. Don't let your cape get caught in the door.